Right, so the proposal to divide the test game into a two-tier system has been shelved. It was along expected lines. Sharda Ugra joins me here. Along expected lines also because the BCCI, in, well, rare candor if you like, made an on-the-record comment, several comments in fact, about how firmly they were opposed to it. Once a board such as the BCCI says that they're opposed to a proposal, it's very difficult to get it through at the ICC level.
And you could see what happened, Gaurav, because they didn't even put it on the table because they knew it would get, I assume they knew it would get shot down. There's been no official word on this all the same. It's quite almost a turnaround from what the BCCI was seen as representing a few years ago.
Yes.
You know, it was seen as being on the side of England and Australia, who are very much behind, this proposal that the ICC has put up. And the BCCI now stand for the little guys, stand for the small seven. It's really ironic that the tables have turned completely, and they are calling the shots.
Yes, the BCCI, as you said, standing for the small guys, the Bangladesh Cricket Board supporting it, as well as the Sri Lankan Board supporting the BCCI's position, Zimbabwe as well. Now, this process tells us is that there is some churn within the international cricket community about or some desperation to find answers to this T20 revolution, so to speak. Context for Test cricket. They're talking about a playoff. 72% players in this FICA survey say that there should be consideration towards a two-tier system. All of this is telling us that there is concern now about where the game is headed.
I think primarily the concern comes not from, say, the smaller countries that are basically hanging on to their existence as best as they can, but perhaps in England and Australia with reference to the kind of money that they're able to generate through Test cricket and the rights that they've got. Yes. Both the ECB and Cricket Australia have, say, over the last, 5-6 years, the last media rights cycle, they got a massive amount of sort of like a big tranche of rights that they were able to get. Yeah. And maybe being able to back that up is, and the competition that you get then from CPL and the popularity of Big Bash, and that's kind of thrown this into the mix, that there is maybe a demand from their sponsors and their broadcasters to say that, listen, this cannot go on in this way, and that's where this entire process has sort of been moved from. Whereas in India, the situation is completely the opposite, because the BCCI can pretty much dictate to any television channel that wants to turn up and offer them some money. They call the shots. They dictate to the broadcasters what happens. Perhaps in other countries, it happens to be the other way around.
Yeah, and one final thought, and this is obviously got to do with where Test cricket is headed now, because that is the overriding concern. The area that they were focusing on here with the two-tier system was to get a system in place that would energize, in a sense, Test cricket. Now they are talking about maybe a playoff at the end of 2 years, the Test Championship still being met with kind of a cold shoulder. So clearly, that is the one game which every stakeholder, the big boards, small boards and the ICC will have to focus on.
I think they will have to find out ways to make it more attractive for people to keep coming to the ground. And it's not by denying, that's sort of an opinion. For us to be agreeing with what the BCCI says is pretty dramatic. But sort of isolating countries that don't have very strong Test teams from playing in countries that do becomes a little bit, it doesn't sort of gel well with what's going on. The Test Championship seems to be difficult to work because bilaterals still sort of pull in the power of the international game at the moment. So maybe there is some doubt about what kind. Now it looks like that they want to choose the bilaterals, whereas the ICC's argument was everybody 4-year cycle, FTP, home and away, and you get a kind of an evenness to it. But it needs to have sort of a finality and a point at which you say, okay, this is the strongest team in the world because the playoff, the champions playoff that they're talking about. That this becomes there is sort of some point to it that it gets there. That there is other than a mace being handed over, something else. Yeah. There's a game played that kind of that has led up from, say, a year or 2 years of a Test match cycle going.
Yeah, the mace also presented in complete secrecy the last time that it was. But, well, this is where it is right now. Once the BCCI opposed it, it was thought that the two-tier system will not go through, and it hasn't.